So over the last couple of weeks, we've had quite a bit of MotoGP 26 gameplay revealed. Obviously, some of it via official sources, like the Steam page with the clip of Top Rack at Thailand. Stuff online on articles had been uploaded by Milestone themselves, but was actually unlisted, which was a real treasure trove. Good 15 minutes of gameplay, and of course, more recently, some of the influencers who got their hands on the preview build of the game. Today, we are going to be breaking down some of the gameplay. All just the stuff from Milestone. I don't think it's right to go and record somebody else's video that's got the game and analyse it based on that. So it's just going to all be stuff from the official Milestone channel, and the general format of the video is going to be on the left, there's going to be the MotoGP 26 gameplay, and on the right there is going to be some MotoGP 25, or in some cases Ride 6 gameplay to compare against. So if we get into the first clips, we've got Austria here on the Road Go KTM. Of course, this is one of the new race-off modes, and this is one of the times I decided that I would do Ride 6, because of course it's a good comparison. You've got the Austria track in both games, we've got the same bike in both games, and you can see direct side by side. Now, first thing that jumped out to me immediately was the fact that Ride 6 actually looks better, in my opinion, in terms of the lighting. The graphics looks a little bit better. The physics do look different. Obviously, physics is very, very tricky to kind of glean from these videos, and that's something we'll see across the clips. Sometimes you can tell, like when we get to the off-road stuff in a little bit, you can really tell. But from the announcement of the game, I certainly thought, and I think a lot of other people did too, that some of the improvements from Ride 6 would be brought across. But if you can see the bikes here, they don't particularly handle the same. On MotoGP 26 they look a bit more stiff, a bit more like MotoGP 25, whereas Ride 6, the game's a lot more fluid, a lot more loose. The bike moves around a lot more, you have a lot more control over the bike, and I think that is kind of, that still seems to be the same from as far as I can see, which is pretty disappointing, to be honest. I was really hoping, especially these bikes, I thought these bikes definitely would be a one-to-one from Ride 6, but you can see on the left clip there, Pedro Acosta changing direction, just not quite as fluid as the Ride 6 clips. Now, of course, the person playing MotoGP 26, take that with a pinch of salt as well. You can slate the clips on the right all you want, because they're me. On the left, obviously, I have no idea who's actually recording this gameplay, and typically speaking, they're not the best at the game. But that is the first clip that I thought was quite good to look at, was the two Austria clips across the two different games to compare just how different the physics are on the exact same bike. Clip number 2 then is Silverstone on the factory Ducati, and this one is going to probably be a bit more of a comparison then between MotoGP 25 and MotoGP 26, and in all honesty, graphically 26 definitely, so even though compared to Ride 6 it didn't quite look as good, in this particular clip, yeah, MotoGP 26 looks a lot better than MotoGP 25 in my opinion. You can see, just again, lighting, the reflections are a lot better, it looks a bit too bright in MotoGP 25 considering how much it's raining. It's the same weather conditions, it's heavy rain, so it is a direct comparison there. Obviously, physics-wise, I actually think the two games look very similar here, so it does lead me to believe that MotoGP 26 is very much going to be the same as MotoGP 25, or at least an evolution of that game. As you see, I have a massive moment into the chicane. Not the best gameplay from me, I must admit, but they do look pretty similar in terms of the physics. The bike moved around in a similar way. Maybe looked like there's a bit more grip from the rear end, I'd say. Looked like, at least on the lead angle on 25, the bike was kind of wallowing around, moving around quite a bit, but in the 26 gameplay, it did look like the bike had maybe a little bit more grip in those wet weather conditions. And that kind of leads us on to the next bit of gameplay here, which is actually first-person gameplay, so absolutely all over the place, and probably a bit harder to kind of see the physics, see the bike moving around underneath you. So fortunately, they haven't cut the S's, which I have seen in some of the preview gameplay from some of the other YouTubers. So glad to see that that's not always happening, but yeah, not ideal. And here, to be honest, if you took the heads-up display away, I'd probably believe you if you told me the left one was MotoGP 25 gameplay. They look very similar in these conditions. Tarmac maybe looks a little darker in 26, but yeah, nothing massive. And obviously, like I said, it's pretty difficult to get a kind of a read of the physics from the first-person gameplay, and you'll see that with the next clip as Quartararo as well at the Portimao circuit. Obviously, though, this is still a pretty good clip for you guys that play in first person. I personally don't. Obviously, I always play in third person. I think it's obviously it's faster. It's just the way I've always played the game as well. So it's just what I'm used to. And I think for content, it is nicer as well, because you can obviously see more of the track, see what's going on, see your bike, and those kind of things. But yeah, for those guys that play in first person, that is one of the things that comes up a lot, is the first person camera, and I'm going to say they are like exactly the same. There doesn't seem to be much of a change in the way the first person camera works, because I think we're both on the helmet cam here. Does actually look like on the left, maybe the helmet, the guy's leaning off the bike a little bit more, but generally speaking, it does look pretty damn similar. Continuing this theme into Portimao, then you can see we've got, again, two different bits of first-person gameplay. 25, obviously, of course, on the right, as it has been the whole video. Here, again, you can actually see there's a slightly different time of day. Now, obviously, it's a race in the 26 clip and only time trial in 25. I can't say I've done that many laps of Portimao on 25 that I would definitely be confident saying it's not a slightly evening race, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't in real life, so I'm not sure exactly why. So I don't know if that's good, means that we maybe have a time of day editor, or maybe these sessions are just later on this season compared to last season. I'm not too sure, but that is certainly obviously the standout thing for me in that clip, is that it seems to be a sunset, and you can see obviously there's a kind of an orange tint to everything with that with obviously the light coming from the sun there. Again, tarmac probably looks a little bit darker, so you can see there are some small graphical improvements. I still think the biggest kind of difference was the Silverstone gameplay with Marquez. Looked quite different compared to MotoGP 25, but here again, I think if you turn the hood off, I certainly would believe you that it was MotoGP 25 gameplay physics. The bike generally just looks like it might be a bit more stable. So again, like I kind of said in the Marquez clip, maybe there's just a bit more grip on the edge of the tyre, which I'm sure people aren't going to like too much, because a lot of people already thought 25 was too easy. So if they've taken away, if they've given a bit more grip on the side of the tyre, then that's going to play into that even more. Now, this is the clip that I was referring to earlier on, where you can really see the physics. We've actually got, again, obviously 25 versus 26. So you can see these are the flat track bikes, or sorry, the little Supermoto bikes around a couple of the circuits. On the left, you have got the brand new circuit that seems to be in the UK, and on the right, you've got I think it's the Alps one, so I think it's the one in like Italy. But physics, they look identical to me, the same way that the bike kind of steps out in the weird manner. And that kind of ties me into this clip here from Ride 6, because for me, Ride 6, one of the most enjoyable things in that game, actually, is the Supermotos and the off-road stuff. Going into it, I didn't think I'd have any interest in it at all, and it's so fun. It's really, really good. And again, unfortunately, they've not taken that brilliant base. Ride 6 has been the best received milestone game in years, in absolute years, and unfortunately, they just haven't built upon it. They haven't taken that really, really good feature. Again, the clips with we'll go back to the sort of the MotoGP 25 ones, the way you just go into the corner, it seems so artificial, the way the back just kind of steps out, but there's no consequence. It's not like you've lost grip. The bike just turns like that. It doesn't, you don't get thrown off the other side because you've over-egged it, whereas, I don't know, Ride 6, it's just so satisfying. You feel like you actually have a bit more control over the bike sliding into the corners. It's not like someone's just seen a clip on Instagram of Diogo Moreira sliding a Supermoto bike and be like, oh, let's make ours visually do that. It actually does feel like you have the control of the bike and you actually are sliding it. So yeah, obviously, like I said, it is difficult to get a full overview of the physics from these videos, so that's why I have focused on things like graphics as well. Obviously, AI do look pretty similar. They don't seem to have made a huge step. They don't look appalling in the clips that are obviously shown off, but I think stuff like that, you really can't tell until you actually get into the game and do quite a few races, and you get a good handle on how the AI behave. But seems to me like, even though we were sold the dream of these improved physics and things looking pretty different, they do look very, very similar as a base. Like I said, biggest thing physics-wise, looks like the bikes are just a little bit less nervous. They've got a bit more grip on the edge of the tyre, seemingly. That was obviously pretty standout in the rain clip, and also the Portimao clip. It did seem like the guy on the left playing, or whoever was playing the MotoGP 26 game, was certainly having less moments on the front than me, but that may be because they're running arcade mode, or could be a multitude of different things. But yeah, I thought I'd go through some of that big 15-minute gameplay that was released, and just put some snippets together, comparing it to the previous games, because that's all I can really offer as the insight at the moment. Obviously, like I said, the preview builds have gone out to the influencers. Unfortunately, I was not one of them this year. So obviously all that kind of stuff in terms of, oh, is this a new feature? What's the editor look like? They're covering all that kind of stuff. So I can only really look at what we're given and compare it to what I already know and give my thoughts on it. But hopefully this video was useful, because again, that is the point of the video, to try and inform you guys and kind of give my opinions on the upcoming release of MotoGP 26. As I'm recording this, we're just under a month away, so I'm not quite as excited now, to be honest, as I was when I first saw the trailer and the press release. Do feel free to let me know what you think in the comments below. But overall, I hope you have enjoyed that video. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I shall see you in the next one.